All right, so yesterday after the bell, Amazon posted results that mostly beat the street, right? But the current quarter guidance was a little light. Listen, here's the bigger news, folks. They increased their CapEx budget for this year to $100 billion. I mean, that's a lot more than Wall Street anticipated. But then again, these hyperscalers, they're spending a lot more money. You can see all of them are spending a lot more money. And in fact, CapEx, check this out. This is crazy. Their CapEx growth is going to dwarf revenue growth. The yellow is CapEx expenditures. The blue is revenue growth for 2025. Now, meanwhile, half the companies that have reported fourth quarter earnings have actually mentioned AI in their conference call. They're all talking about it. And my first guess thinks that Wall Street, the area, the place, the experts, that they continue to make a big mistake by underestimating the so-called picks and shovels period of the AI boom. So let's bring in Wolf Financial Chief Strategy Officer, Shai Balor. Shai, before we get to your AI thinking broadly, I also want to just get your reaction to Amazon. The reaction from Wall Street, right? I saw where you posted that you think Wall Street's making a huge mistake, particularly AWS alone, you think is worth $2 trillion. Walk us through this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do think this is another classic example of the street just misjudging the impact of AI. We're clearly still in the stage one of AI, which is the infrastructure stage. And what we got from Amazon's earnings yesterday was nothing against the AI demand for compute. It was purely based on compute and energy constraints that caused them to have a weaker than expected guide. This is a classic example of how the street just can't see AI into their spreadsheets, and they misunderstand it. And right now, at the current valuation, you're essentially getting AWS as a $2 trillion company. Like, you're getting their e-commerce side of the business, which is 38% US market share, for free. You're getting their ad business that's just getting started for free. You're getting their logistic robotics that's just getting started for free. And at this current valuation, it's purely AWS. And I think this is a complete misalignment on what the street is understanding what Amazon's earnings were yesterday.
Right. I'm going to ask you about capacity and nuclear later on in this interview, but let's go back to the picks and shovels part of this phase. Again, this is another one. For the last year and a half, maybe Wall Street has said, okay, it's over, it's done, move on. And in part, everyone kind of says, get out of Nvidia, but it's not over yet, is it?
Absolutely not. You're seeing the CapEx dollars exceed expectations, like 20 to 25% over what the street estimated was going to be for this upcoming year. The Nvidia show is still going on strong. The party will continue. We're going to see in 2 weeks when Nvidia reports their next earnings that the demand is still there for AI. It is nowhere close to the end of the ball game. It's closer to the third and fourth inning. And if you believe that we're closer to the end, then you're going to be mistaken on what the next move is going to be in a lot of these AI names.
So, I suspect that less than 1% of investors have ever heard of Centrus, a supplier, right? It's a supplier of nuclear energy. They posted their earnings, $3.20. The few analysts that followed it thought it would be $1.33. Obviously, that's a monster beat. But this was even more important. The CEO, what he had to say during the call, that essentially that there's a long record of bipartisan support when it comes to nuclear power, but that the new administration and Chris Wright in particular, are particularly bullish about domestic enrichment of uranium. And I think that's what the street is holding on to, right? These small nuclear plays are through the roof today.
Yeah, absolutely, because in order to fulfill Americans' AI vision that Trump has in place with Stargate, you're going to need to find alternative energy resources for AI to reach their maximum potential. In order to do that, it's a lot of these nuclear names. One of my favorite names is Cameco, ticker CCJ, where what they are to nuclear energy is what Nvidia is to AI compute. They're going to be the energy demand supplier for the next era of energy demand. So I do believe that it's not a matter of if, but when nuclear is going to come into play in a lot of the fundamentals for these names.
Right.
And it takes a couple years for the plants to get built up, but it's going to be an inevitability. And to discount this is highly offside. This is going to be the nuclear renaissance next decade.
It's absolutely amazing. I mean, I just got out of one of them. I had OKLO, got out too early. We made a ton of money on it. We do have SMR. We do have a couple of others, but it's absolutely amazing. Hey, I got 30 seconds to go. I know you like Snowflake and Palantir and Rocket Labs and all of those. TMP, though, this Tempest, right? It hit everyone's radar because Nancy Pelosi bought it. I don't know why she's so great at this stuff, wink, wink. But what do they do? In case anyone, because I almost bought the dip recently and I didn't know what they do. That's why I didn't buy the dip.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the market view them as a genetic testing firm, and in reality, they're the AI data engine for precision medicine. So think ChatGPT for your medical history.
Wow.
And this is going to be one of those industries that are going to be explosive because healthcare will get disrupted by AI in a good way. So just like in the dot-com era, the crown jewels of that era was essential applications built on the structural arteries of the internet. The same crown jewels of the AI era will be the applications built on top of the computes, GPUs, etc. And healthcare applications is going to be one of the most explosive themes of this next decade. And Tempest AI is perfectly placed as being that AI data engine for the next 5 to 7 years. And Nancy, I agree. Nancy knows something, and I'm here for it because I love Tempest AI.
I tell you, man, golly. Good stuff. Hey, Shai, congratulations again. You've been killing it. Talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me, Charles.